Hi everyone, I know it's been a very long time since I last did a video. It's been very busy here. Unfortunately, I've not really had much time to get the camera out, but I'll go around today and give you a quick tour, show you what's been done and have a chat about what's coming up. I'm not even really sure where to begin. So much has happened since the last time I posted a video, but we'll start here in the library because this is the room that's really had the most attention. This room, it's had, as you can see, a log burner installed. We went with this sort of black polished stone hearth, and these herringbone brick slips. And those come just as a panel, so they were just cut and installed. That was nice and easy. And of course this room, as you can see, has now been plastered. One thing we did do on this back wall, this is the one wall of the house which was a bit sort of cold and damp, because as you can see it's a bit thinner where it's inside the archway. So we've added a layer of insulation into this wall, so that should help keep the damp away here and keep this room a bit warmer. The windows are all now installed and finished. What hasn't been done is obviously a lot of the inside trim still needs tidying up, whether that be just sort of sanding and painting, or in some cases there's trim that needs to be installed, but we're leaving that until the plastering's done. I think last time I made a video, this wall just wasn't even here, it was just studs visible. So this has now been plasterboarded, it's been plastered. And this room is basically ready for decorating. Shall I go right down here?
Yeah. One in the middle.
I've sorted out all the floors, so you'll see everywhere we've got this plywood down on the floors. So I repaired and replaced all the bad floorboards, and then I've just overboarded the whole thing with this 12mm ply to give a nice solid surface for whatever we decide to do next.
You want a hand, Charlie? Did you want a hand? Do you get it? Hand?
Yes, I think we get it.
Don't laugh, Charlie. Crikey. What have you done, John? You ready for more?
Not mentally ready for more.
Perfect. Still the same size?
We've actually got a bit of a problem coming up. I don't know how much of a problem it's going to be. We've got this structural timber, which if I recall, isn't very straight. And it's got a bit of a, well, I think the whole thing might be slightly lower than the joists, I'm not sure. I don't remember. We did look ages ago. Very similar story in the dining room. Dave and Paul are just having their lunch. Paul is my plasterer who's been doing all this magic. Give the camera a little wave, Paul.
I've been doing this a little bit. I've been doing half of it.
Anyway, here's my pile of various building materials. We've got through quite a lot of this multi-finish. A little bit of one coat, which Paul wants to use on a particular wall. Sand and cement, all sorts going on. Right, the living room. So in here, again, we've got the floor fixed, we've got the ply down. Today, we've just been doing a final bit of flooring over in this window. This is the very last area of flooring on the ground floor that needed fixing. So we've just been putting boards down here. So here you can kind of see the build-up of the floor. We've got the replacement boards, and then sitting on top we've got this 12mm ply throughout. And here's the second log burner, which has been installed. Basically the same setup as the first, but it's got this lovely stone surround with a mantelpiece. We've got this one lit today, which is nice. Heading onwards through the ground floor, it's more of the same. Again, we've repaired lots of the flooring all the way through and put this ply down, ready to tile. So when it comes to tiling, we'll be using another layer, which will be a cement board to give a really solid base for the tiles. But for now, we thought we'd put the ply down just to get a consistent flat finish through the whole house, ready to put whatever we want on top. So this is the kitchen. Exactly the same bay window as in the living room, and this has now all been plastered. We didn't bother to plaster the bottom sort of half metre of the wall because there's going to be kitchen units all the way along. So we'll have the sink over here and then coming round to the cooker on this wall. So again, very much of the effort that's gone in the last couple of months has just been prepping the walls and plastering. So scraping off all the flaky paint, and then putting the various adhesives on the wall to make sure the plaster goes on well, and then plastering. So I've had Paul, who really seems to know what he's doing with all that stuff, and he's got an absolutely lovely finish on these walls. You'll see, one thing you might notice is that the house probably feels a bit more closed up again. After we ripped everything out, it felt so open and so light. But of course, now we've had to put walls back up. It's slightly more closed off again than it was, but it certainly doesn't feel cramped, not like it was when we arrived. So see, here's another wall that's been plasterboarded, but not yet plastered. And I think I've talked about this before, but for building regulations, we're required to put a fire partition in to separate these back stairs from the rest of the house. So we've now got a fairly discreet fire door here, so that sort of separates the two parts of the house. The door's not in, obviously, but we've tried to make it as big as possible so that it doesn't detract from the size of the hallway. And then the last important room downstairs is this downstairs toilet. And this room we've closed up a little bit, and you'll see why as I go round. This is in the process of being plastered today, this room.
So that was lovely. Loads of school kids came out in front of their little school. What school would that be that I went down there? Yeah, Greenhouse School.
Don't worry about doing a good job, no one will know.
You can edit, so you make it look good. Hopefully, sure. Even the AI down a bit. Yeah. That way.
In here, we've installed this very large cupboard. And this is basically the sort of utility cupboard, tech cupboard kind of thing. This has got our new water cylinder in here. It's a 300 litre mega flow water cylinder, which should be more than enough even for this size of house. And then I've also got all of my sort of internet cables coming in here. Got my incoming fibre mounted on the wall. I've got some power sockets ready to go in underneath, and then the 19-inch rack with all of the Ethernet cables in there ready to be terminated. And hopefully there'll also be a fair bit of space left in this cupboard underneath for storage. And as I say, this has just been plastered today and is hopefully going to be ready soon to have the toilet installed and to be turned into a sort of half bathroom. And then here's the utility room, which we've made a start on it, but it still needs a ceiling, so there's a fair bit to do in there. It's been such a long time, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I've forgotten to mention that's gone on down here. But as I say, the bulk of the work has been plasterboard and then plastering. And also, obviously, repairing the floors and getting this plywood down on the floor. But a couple of the rooms are now at the state where hopefully the decorating can begin. But let's head upstairs. By the way, if I look a bit wet, it's because I've just had to go and clear a gutter. Unfortunately, one of our new gutters already managed to get blocked with leaves. So I had to go up a ladder in the rain this morning and clear that out. But hopefully with a bit of maintenance that won't be a problem. Emma's busy doing some prep work in the library. There's a lot of wood to be sanded and prepared, all of these old frames. But Emma's getting through it. This main hallway will be the next thing to be plastered. Lots of prep work going on, filling in gaps and getting that ready for the nice new plaster coat. And poor Dave is here, apparently cleaning mould off the walls. This is from last winter when there was a weird cold spell and then a weird warm spell, and we left all the windows open and we got a ton of condensation, but it's mostly cleaned up now. So upstairs we've done a lot less than downstairs. We're kind of working our way up. Emma has spent so much time stripping all the lining paper off these walls. You can see there's a bit left here. But she's got most of, well, all of the lining paper off on the ground floor, and she's now working her way through this first floor. But it's a very similar story up here. This is the guest suite, so this is the guest bathroom we're coming into now. We've got obviously the new windows in here. We've got a replacement for that fire door, a nice new UPVC door there. And we're hoping not to have to replace too much in the way of floors upstairs, but this guest bedroom has had a whole brand new floor. Very much the same process everywhere. We just had to rip the floorboards up and put this tongue and groove down. And actually, this looks really nice, but the plan is to cover this all up with carpet. So we're doing the same thing upstairs. We're repairing the floors, trying to be sort of true to the original style of pine floorboards that were here before. And then we're covering it up with a layer of ply throughout. Again, just to give a level surface, whatever we decide to put on top. Here's the dressing room. What's happened in here? Okay, so we've done a bit of plasterboarding in here. These stairs are ready to be boarded, and the walls in here are all boarded, ready for plastering, and the ceiling's boarded, ready for plastering. I know there are different ways of doing this, but in the UK we tend to apply plasterboard and then skim over it before painting, so we don't paint directly onto the plasterboard. We always do a sort of 3mm skim of plaster before we paint. So that's ready for Paul to come up and skim with plaster. And then the final room really where anything's been going on is the master bathroom. Oh, that looks so nice with the sun streaming in. This room we've repaired and sort of infilled the floorboards. So this is a room where we didn't need to completely rip the floor up, but it did need some repairs. So we've got some new and some old boards and sort of leveled it all and made it good. And then we've got in this corner a surface ready to put our shower former down. And we've got the plumbing in ready for the shower here. So the next step in here will be to get cement board, which is a nice solid base for tiles. And we're going to cement board this back wall where the shower's going and the floor, and then tile all of that. And the other walls are a bit of a combination of plasterboard and original plaster, which we'll just skim and paint. So that's everything that's been going on. Some parts of it are really starting to look a lot more like a livable house now, which is fantastic. Other parts certainly need a lot more work. The plumbers have been in, the heating system is almost up and running. We don't have any radiators yet, but hopefully in the next couple of days we're going to have hot water running around, getting the place warmed up a bit before winter comes, because we don't really want a repeat of last year, which ended up with very damp walls and mould starting to grow around the place. So that's it. The next steps really are just going to be getting the rest of the floorboards repaired on this first floor, getting the plywood down over everything, and finishing the plastering. Unfortunately, it's basically the same job over and over again when it comes to prepping the walls and plastering and fixing the floors. But that's where we are, and I'm hoping in the next couple of months we're going to have some rooms really starting to look ready to live in. Oh, again, here's another example of that, the fire partition. So this corridor has been sort of closed off at this point with a nice wide fire door. And the idea, you see there's some gaps here, we need to get those filled in with fireproof material. The idea is just to make sure that this stairway that goes up to the attic is completely protected from fire. I think that's just about it for a very brief summary of what's happened the last couple of months. I will see you guys hopefully a bit sooner than last time. Thank you for watching. See you soon.